Ah, they're fucking green. Nobody wanted to give me a heads up. They're fucking green. Oh.
Hi everyone, this is Rachel Gurjar here, and I'm here for a secret conversation about Chris Morocco. Once again, we're going to put Chris's super taster abilities to the test. This is Samin Nosrat's Ravioli Verde with butter, parmesan, and pepper. We're challenging Chris to replicate this exact dish with every ingredient in just one day. He'll be able to taste it, touch it, smell it, but at no point will he be allowed to see this dish. At the end of the day, we'll come back to see his final creation, and I'll be the judge.
I'm getting a real bad feeling about dairy here. Like it smells like cheesy funk. A ravioli, a raviolo. I was getting like a strong herbal quality, which I believe is basil. I don't know, but everything's kind of like silky, kind of buttery. But then this filling, there's a lot of dense, cheesy filling. There's a little bit of texture in there. Maybe like a chopped shallot. Could it be spinach? Like spinach stems would help contribute to an overall silkiness. Like what does spinach even taste like really? I mean, does it taste, it's like it tastes green. I mean, you know what I mean? I suppose it could be Swiss chard. There's a pronounced bite and texture. I can't see the color, but let's assume that this is an egg-based fresh pasta. And then there is, I would say, buttery-ish pesto kind of going on outside of it. Some kind of clunky version of Swiss chard and cheese ravioli with pesto. And in terms of chef, got nothing at all here. Okay, let's make a grocery list. Durum, semolina, AP, eggs, Swiss chard, but it has to be green. Not like that red shit. Red stem Swiss chard is going to stain everything red, which just doesn't seem right. Italian cheeses, I've got Fontina, Parmesan, Pecorino, Asiago, Ricotta, Mascarpone. That's the list. Somebody's gonna run and grab these groceries, and then I'll have my first chance at making the dish. So pasta is, at its most simple, some kind of flour and water. AP flour is good just, you know, for an all around. A harder wheat flour like durum semolina is gonna give you a little bit more of that chew and that bite. Let's start with a cup of each. Big pinch of salt. So make a little well in the center. From there, if you wanna build richness, you add egg. The egg is the liquid element, and it's also adding fat in the form of the yolks. I've always used whole eggs for my ravioli. I can't exactly tell you why. So I'm gonna do a touch of olive oil. Oh, I didn't say olive oil. Can I still have olive oil? Please give me olive oil. Thank you. Check the lid on it. So we want to develop the gluten in the dough just so it builds elasticity and like gets like a really nice bite.
I feel like you're getting closer to me.
Yes, that is correct. We are moving about 1/4 of an inch towards you every time. It's like a typewriter. Bing! So I'm gonna wrap this, letting the dough relax so that it's easier to kind of roll out and then it wants to like play ball. And then we're gonna move on to filling. You're not just putting raw greens and raw vegetables in that filling. We need to pre-cook it so that it softens. I'm gonna do a spinach version and I'm gonna do a Swiss chard version. But in the case of the chard, we'll need to take the central ribs out and probably blanch them separately. They're doing two very different things when it comes to texture. The central stem, you could boil it a long time and it's still gonna retain those kind of stringy fibers in it. That's why we're gonna need to cut it, if it even belongs in there. Ooh. Whereas the leaf, once you've cooked the leaf, it'll want a puree. So this is whole leaf spinach. This is not the right tool for the spinach. I gotta be honest, I'm not a big fan of baby spinach. Like baby spinach, like you're gonna have very fine stems. It's gonna break down almost instantaneously, whereas like more mature spinach, it's a little more toothsome, has a little bit more going on. Like this to me just looks like it's gonna be a watery mess and a total nightmare to get all this excess water out of. See, spinach has a hollow stem. It's a lot more kind of indeterminate, whereas chard, actually has a lot of flavor. Whoa, that was very abrupt. It announced itself in a very intense way. You know what I think I was expecting to taste more of? Sweetness from the stem. But if it were spinach and you were doing a sauteed kind of thing, could that sweet element have been, you know, allium, like shallot or onion? I think we're gonna have to put a pin in that and just kind of keep going with what we've got right now. This charred stem suddenly seems like a pretty bad idea. So if somebody says to me cheese ravioli, I'm never thinking, oh, that's just one cheese. And I wanna grate some cheeses. So we've got Fontina. This is gonna be a pretty neutral cheese, but with a pretty high moisture content, which I think we want here, but it's gonna be, you know, pretty lacking in flavor. Asiago like gives you a little funk, you know, like a little intensity. Parm, just all around phenomenal flavor, but not a great melting cheese. This is Pecorino Romano, very salty, very intense, very funky. I mean, Pecorino is like, we gotta watch where you're pointing it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about the Pecorino in this. In terms of like creamy backing, whole milk ricotta. Ricotta has a curdy texture, but if you're pureeing it, if you're blitzing it, that kind of blasts apart. So it provides a great base for adding other cheeses that are gonna bring flavor. The thing that, you know, strikes me as I'm doing this, it's not green, right? And like, is that compelling or is that a bit weird? Fontina, Asiago. I get creamy, I get cheesy. I can see like maybe if that were heated, it would give you a little bit more of like a unctuous kind of oozy quality. So to what extent is this like some kind of pesto? Or to what extent is this like a butter sauce? I don't know, could it just been like super crazy finely chopped basil? But that doesn't quite make sense to me either. So I don't know, let's just do this. Let's just start doing things because we need to we need to. Let's get some basil in there, not much stem, a pinch of salt, and then I want a little bit of grated garlic. Just gonna give you extra backbone. So I mean, it's pesto loosely. I haven't put any cheese in this. Ultimately, I'm gonna be putting some Parmesan in the finishing sauce. I'm kind of feeling that. All right, work on some ravioli here. I'd say that's been resting maybe about an hour or so. You don't need a pasta roller to roll out pasta dough. I mean, you can do it by hand. It's just very hard. You really want a uniform thickness. It's gonna control for the texture of the dough and allow you to have an even cook time. Okay, so I'm just doing a light impression. I can see where to put the filling. Yeah, I've never done multiple like this. I feel like the dough is just sticky enough. But I'd rather do this. Like that's a little more fun to me, you know? It's actually really satisfying. Are these a little bit more freeform in size? Like I wouldn't be mad about that. Nailed it. Water's coming up to a boil. I'm gonna throw basically a knob of butter into a skillet, put cheese in there to reinforce it. I'm gonna taste it, I'm gonna think about it, probably get a little bit stressed out because it's not gonna seem right. And then I'm gonna put some pesto in it and we're gonna serve this thing because I'm ready to be done. We can even put a little more in, but it's gotta be whisked in. It's kind of like how you make a true Alfredo sauce. 6, 7. Ravioli can go in. The cheese starting to solidify in a few places. Finish them in the skillet. Oh. Here goes nothing. All right. Well, that's version 1. I feel like it took a lot to get there. These look really big to me. The texture's good, but it's a bit much. It's like a big mouthful of pasta. I do like that the filling really stayed put. I don't know, I mean, the flavor's pretty good. The thing that I'm really missing in there is element that was providing some texture. Ingredients, maybe 75%. Hard to say what I'm missing, but let's just assume it's 3 cheeses and a few other things. In terms of technique, the thing that I'm most tripped up about potentially is the construction of the sauce, 70%. Appearance, maybe we're back down to a 70. That feels like there's something a little wonky happening here. Taste, I'll go with 85. That gives me an average of 75%. For the next tasting, I need to think even more about what that textural element is inside the filling. Pesto, butter, how are these things coming together? I'm still really not clear about that. First question, is there a garnish on this? Maybe a little scattering of cheese? Yeah, scattering of unincorporated parm on there. In terms of size, yeah, it feels like they're rectangular. Oh, do I have a smooth edge here? Did I just bite that? Hold on. I can't believe I didn't pick that up the first time. A rectangle that was then folded over and then sealed with the roller. Sauce, I'm tasting butter and I'm tasting parm. It's like barely a sauce, you know? I feel good about my dough. That's a good thing. Definitely need to go thinner. There's a little bit of a sweetness to the filling. I could believe there to be some shallot or some onion in there. I'm doubting the basil thing now. I'm just not getting it. There is a flavor in there that's kind of, it's hard to pin down, but maybe nutmeg. That's it. I don't know. I'm sort of stuck with this one. You know, a picture would truly be worth 1,000 words in this case. I need to start by making some dough again. I don't think I'm gonna do anything different for the dough. I really like the texture of my dough. It made me happy, I don't know. Now we gotta move on to the filling. As the second I tried the Swiss chard stem, nothing made sense to me anymore in that scenario. I'm gonna go for onion. I'm gonna go for a little bit of garlic. So I wanna sweat this out. We want softness, we want sweetness, and then spinach is gonna go in on top of that. I'm looking at this and there's like tons of like, you know, water and like ice crystals all around it. It could be that we're using fresh spinach instead of this frozen stuff. Hey Carrie, yeah? Do you have any fresh spinach? Yes. Yeah, if you wanna bung that right over.
Baby.
Oh, great. Perfect. Wilting this down, transfer this to a bowl to cool. All right, let's grate some cheeses. I mean, honestly, the blend I did before, not feeling bad about it. Whether or not it's correct, couldn't tell you, but I felt like we got to a pretty good place, actually. All this, boom. The garlic comes through kind of strong there. Shows up to the party wearing no t-shirt, pair of board shorts, and a 24-pack of Coors Light, you know, just like ready to go. Anyway, it's in there now, it's cool. I feel great about it, obviously. Yeah, nutmeg, it's a fascinating aroma to me. Find it a lot in Italian cooking. It's got this floral plus sandalwood plus like, yeah, like cedar floral, very like high note. I'm gonna go for a little bit. Why not? Might as well have fun with it. So I'm gonna roll out the dough a little bit thicker this time. Sorry, that's exactly what I'm not gonna do. I'm going to go thinner this time. I wanna be like fairly precise about where I'm placing this. What I'm thinking is we basically go up and over. Definitely, it certainly does clear up how they were formed, I think. So there, now we've got our folded side. That is a bit pleasing. And they definitely are slightly more manageable size. This is the part I've been dreading. I have to make some kind of final decision about the sauce. And like, this is like me, like, you know, real talk, okay? This morning with the first dish in particular, somebody was back there just like whisking, like for England. Like where is that even gonna like come into play? The other option is cook the ravioli, throw some pasta cooking liquid in there, throw some butter in there, throw some cheese in there. I mean, when I hear myself say that, it sounds a lot more reasonable than make Bermonte, make pesto, unite them. Yeah, okay, we're gonna cook these things and we're just gonna finish in the pan. Obvious statement to make, but if I could only just see the dish, I would probably know exactly what was going on. Hear them f***ing whisking? The flavor is good. You get butter, you get cheese. Very tight. It's not really a sauce, but it is still nicely emulsified. Clings, it dances, it's beauty, it is grace. It doesn't look right to me now at all, and yet this is a more accurate reflection in my mind of what I tasted, particularly on the second tasting. I don't know, I feel like I liked my filling the first time around. I mean, look, it's delicious. Do I think I ultimately got closer to the original dish on the second pass? I kind of doubt it. Ingredients, still I'm hovering around a 70. Technique, you know, listen, I feel like we did get closer in terms of the ravioli construction technique. We have a cooked, pureed spinach situation. There's something's getting emulsified back there, you know. 85. Appearance. I mean, this just doesn't seem like one would present this dish as is. Something's missing. It's like a 65. Taste, unfortunately, I feel like the filling backslid on the second pass. In the end, I'm gonna go down to a 75. So that brings my total average down to 74, and unfortunately, this is the version I have to present to the judge. I would love to know what this is and who it's from.
Hi, Chris. How's it going?
Rachel, you need to put me out of my misery.
Oh, how did you feel with this dish?
I can't tell if it's simpler than I am thinking or if it's more complicated in ways that I just can't predict.
Well, we'll find out. But I present to you Samin Nosrat's ravioli verde with butter, parmesan, and
they're f***ing green. Nobody wanted to give me a heads up. They're f***ing green. Oh, okay. Suddenly the fact that it's like ravioli with like a light clingy sauce of butter and cheese like works. That's why it felt like it was lacking.
But guessing the spinach in the dough was definitely a tough one.
I feel like I found myself even questioning what is the flavor of green. Yeah, they're green. They're green.
Do you want to know what's in the filling?
Yes, please.
Swiss chard.
Oh. Just stop talking. You've broken my heart.
There is olive oil, yellow onion, ricotta, parmesan, and nutmeg.
Okay. I tried a Swiss chard stock that had been blanched and cooled. Actually massively flavorful.
The stems are sauteed in there.
Oh.
You added a couple of extra ingredients.
I feel like I've just experienced in the past, I just sort of assume something is all parm, but it turns out it's like 3 different things or 4 different things, but I was totally wrong.
Technique-wise, rolling it out was pretty spot on, and the way you shaped the raviolis, they look pretty perfect, and they didn't burst open.
We did not lose one. Not one ravioli had to die here today. On that note though, like how is the sauce constructed? Does everything happen starting from when the ravioli goes into the skillet? Or are you starting with some water, mounting with butter, and then?
Yes, which is why you were hearing all of the whisking.
Yeah.
I know you are being hard on yourself, but overall, Chris, I think you did pretty great. For ingredients, Chris, I gave you a 73%. Even though you missed the Swiss chard, guessing the nutmeg, it was amazing. Guessing the spinach was, I don't think I would have been able to guess spinach. When it comes to technique, I gave you a 92% because you did really, really awesome there. For appearance, the color, unfortunately, was totally different. I gave you a 65%.
All right. But I'm remembering this, Rachel.
For taste, I gave you a 78%. According to the scores I gave you is 77%.
Hey, they're not green, but like I think a lot of things worked out.
One more question before we wrap up. Do you think you would have done better if the dough had, say, beets or carrots, some other hearty vegetable?
No.
No?
No, I don't think it would have made a difference. I have to say, I think I did better than I expected. You'd have to use a sense that is not at your disposal to discern. I mean, what are you gonna do about it? You just have to let it go. So I'm still coming to grips with the fact that they were green. But honestly, a couple years from now, we'll be laughing about this. So it's fine. They were green. They were just green.